I know that Fridays are normally flashback Fridays, but I really prefer to call them faithful Fridays because, it takes faith to go from one week to the next, sometimes from one day to the next, sometimes from 1 hour, minute, second to the next. And I want to make sure that you have enough faith to get you through the coming days into the next week. Because you know what? As long as you're still breathing, you've got a shot. And as long as you're still breathing, God is for you, not against you. The difference in what happens next is between these two ears and right here. Sometimes, even when your mind is tripping, your heart has to be right. Because sometimes really it's your mind can deceive you and play tricks on you, or other people can be manipulating it for their own purposes. And what you have to know is that in your own heart, God has spoken something to you in your spirit, and that is what is supposed to be in the earth. And you have to go with that. I remember long time ago, I'm giving y'all secret sauce because it's a Friday. Oops, that was a mosquito. I remember one time, long time ago, not that long enough, I'm over it now. I was trying to figure out, why is it that I keep going through the same emotional cycle? Why is it that I keep feeling the same pain? Why is it that I keep not being able to move over this hurdle? And I went through this kind of rites of passage session, and by the time I got to the end, I realized that what I was suffering from had nothing to do with a particular hurt, had nothing to do with a particular person, had nothing to do with a particular event. I was suffering from chronic, habitual, perpetual disappointment. Have you ever been there where you feel like everything that you thought was going to be is not? And you have to, whether you were praying for a paradigm shift or not, you have to make yourself okay with a new normal. That's happened to me on more than one occasion. I could share one because when my son stopped talking and we took him to the doctor and we ended up getting an autism diagnosis, and we went from having a child who was flourishing and reaching all his milestones into a child who started talking less and less and had less and less eye contact and started picking up some kind of repetitive tendencies. That was when I knew that everything that I thought was gonna be about my life as a mom, my life with a child, my life in a family had changed. And I had to quickly adjust because we had to figure out doctors, and we had to figure out therapy, and we had to figure out caregivers, and all this stuff had to happen. And there was never room for me to deal with the fact that, little girl, this ain't what you thought was gonna be. Nothing about the way you always thought things were gonna go is what this is. And it wasn't until I came face to face with that, when we were over enough of the hurdles, for me to stop and say, why am I so burdened? Why am I so ridiculously sad? I mean, I have it better than most. And it was just a measure of being honest. You know what? You do. You have it better than most. And the things that are really hard, you have capacity, you have economy, you have intellect to handle. But it wasn't anything like what I had been dreaming since I was a little girl. So if you're dealing with that today, and it's not really the case that what you've got is so bad, and it's not really the case that you can't play this hand you have and win, what's really the truth is, man, this isn't the hand I thought I was gonna have. This isn't the hand I prayed for. This isn't the hand I dreamed about. And I am living in a state of perpetual disappointment. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. Let it go. Because God has a way that has nothing to do with your plan. God has a way that is better, that is more full, that has more promise, that has more purpose. And once you get over yourself and your design and your plan and your thoughts and your dreams and get with what God allowed for your life, or even more so ordained for your life, you will come to know a peace that, as they say, is past all understanding. And you will have a fire in you about ensuring that somebody, like whoever's listening to me today, doesn't have to take as long as you to figure it out. That's what I wish for you today. My disappointment was a pain in my hip, literally. And as soon as I figured out what it was, acknowledged it, repented about it, asked God to take it from me, it's been better, better, better ever since. And that's what I want for you. Okay, it's the weekend, y'all. Let's get it. Make sure you love somebody, have some fun, laugh at something, and help somebody before Monday comes. You promise?